Did you see that? We're doubling businesses in 30 minutes or less.
Hey, Instagram, good to see you guys. I'm Matt Monero. This is Judge Graham. We're at Judge's Place. We're doing our show tonight called the Attack and Conquer Business Show. If somebody on Instagram and Facebook would do me a huge favor and just type in AC Bootcamp into the comments section, it'd be greatly appreciated. AC Bootcamp in the comments section. That helps us with our algorithm. It helps Instagram open us up to some more people. If you want to like and share, that helps the algorithm. It helps open the stream up to more people, and we appreciate you guys for being with us tonight. We got a bunch of new technology here.
Yeah,
Called the
we're trying to
Mevo.
figure it all out. Yeah, the Mevo we're still working on. We're trying to get on my stream.
Somebody give a thumbs up if you know what a Mevo is. We like the technology. We just haven't been able to perfect it tonight, but we like it. So if somebody knows about Mevo, just give a thumbs up in the comments section. That'd be awesome.
So let's talk. We're going to do this weekly. We've committed to the Attack and Conquer Now business show.
Yes. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But here's what makes this show different. It's not just two guys talking about business. We're bringing in real business people, guys and gals who own businesses, to come into the studio or will go to their office at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday, and we will work with them to fix their business. It's not just two guys talking about business. We're actually going to show you our methodology of how we can go in and fix your business. Now, it doesn't have to be completely broken. In fact, our guests tonight have a very good business.
They do.
We're going to try to enhance it. We're going to try to take it to the next level based on some information that they share with us, which is their challenges and their opportunities. In fact, if you want to be on the show, all we need you to do is reach out to Judge or myself, DM us, or put it in the comments that you want to be a guest on the show. If you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, we're willing to drive to you on a Wednesday night.
Right. You need to be $1 million in revenue. Did we already hit that?
We didn't hit that. We do need your company to be $1 million in revenue or above, because our ideal customer is $1 million in revenue to about $25 million in revenue.
Right.
That's the real sweet spot for us.
It is.
Okay?
Billy, don't worry about it. You sure? Yeah, it's okay. Sorry. this tack.
Mevo strikes again tonight. But listen, tonight's topic is why you need to double your business. And this comes right out of our Attack and Conquer Bootcamp deck, our workbook, that if you're coming to our Alpha Group, Attack and Conquer Alpha Group in September, you'll be getting the workbook, and we'll be talking about why you need to double your business. But it's actually not that difficult to understand. And so we want to share this concept with you of why you need to double the size of your business ASAP, and then we'll bring in our guest for tonight, right?
That's it. Yep.
So let's talk about your business, for example. And look, you guys and our audience tonight, you got to figure out where you are in this equation. So Judge and I just took a company, and we said the company's doing $2 million a year in revenue.
Right.
So these are some of the standards, the assumptions that we're making for our case tonight on why you need to double. Let's say you're doing $2 million in revenue and you have a 20% net profit margin. So on $2 million, 20% margin, you're making $400,000. And that may be high for you, that may be low for you, but some people are saying, I make a nice living from my business. I make the $400,000. Good. No partners. You own the company 100%. You made $400,000. What people don't understand is that at $400,000, you're at the 35% tax rate.
Yep.
So, you're going to take $400,000 times 35%. It's, call it $140,000 from 400. Now we're living on 260, and we're living on about $25,000 a month. Not bad money. Not here to say that it's terrible money by any stretch. But if you're netting $25,000 a month, you're probably burning $15,000, $18,000. So you got 5, 6, 7, 8 left over, maybe. Over the course of a year, maybe you got 50 banked.
Yeah.
Well, 50 banked for 20 years get you $1 million. I mean, that's one reason why we need to double, right?
Totally.
We need more money. But let's talk about it, because this is what we talk about in the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp. Judge and I have a very good understanding of valuations of business. Judge, much more so than me, because he's had 2 extremely successful exits. But we understand valuations.
Yeah.
We understand how your company's going to be valued off of EBITDA, or how it's going to be valued off revenue, or how it's going to be valued off net income. And so we think if you're going to be valued off net income, you're looking at somewhere in a 5x.
Yeah.
So if the company's doing $2 million in revenue, you're making 20% margin, you're left with $400,000. At a 5x, your company has about a $2 million valuation.
Let's just make sure everybody gets that, right? So we're saying at the end of the day, your net income is $400,000. Somebody comes in to potentially buy your company, which at $400,000, they're probably not going to happen, but in this example, we'll go over that. And you had a 5 multiplier, that's $2 million in cash, right? You got to pay taxes and everything. But Matt's about to get into why do we need to double. So keep that number in mind. You're making $2 million as a company. You get $400,000 net income times 5. Your $2 million valuation. That's what you get.
Potential exit valuation.
Correct.
And I think most people probably didn't hear what you said, but you have limited buyers at $400,000 in net income. It just doesn't. It's small potatoes for a lot of buyers. I mean, most private equity guys aren't even going to be even remotely interested in
5-6 million.
5-6 million in EBITDA before they even start to get.
But for this example, it's
okay.
$2 million exit.
Great. So we believe you got a $2 million exit. Now let's talk about what happens when you double the company. So we go from $2 million in revenue to $4 million in revenue. One of the things that should naturally happen on that revenue growth is an increase in your profit margin. Because you might say, well, how? Why will I make more money? Look, many of your fixed expenses to run your business at equilibrium. So what I mean by that is the scale of expenses versus profit is somewhat equal. You may be in different phases. When you're just growing and it's just you doing all the selling, the equilibrium is off. Probably you're making a lot more money because you're not paying out commissions. You don't have a lot of overhead. You're doing everything. But as you begin to add staff, the equilibrium comes. And there will be a point in time, as Judge and I both experienced many, many times, where the equilibrium goes to the negative, where the cart is in front of the horse and you're burning all kinds of cash to get to the growth because you just got to hire people. You got to buy stuff. You got to spend the money to make the money. But eventually it's going to equalize back out. And we believe that the margin would go up on a double. So if you went from $2 million to $4 million and you increased your margin from 20% to 30%,
which is very realistic,
should happen.
The optimization of the staff, P&L, the product delivery, all those things.
Look, you might just have to hire commissioned salespeople.
Sure.
Right? And so if your fixed expenses are covered on the $2 million, all you have is the commission expense on the next $2 million. Let's just say that it's 50% after you pay the guy, you got payroll tax matching, you got benefits, all the other stuff. You should be putting a larger margin to the bottom line. So we averaged it at 30%. $4 million at 30% takes you to $1.2 million in net income. A triple, $400,000 at $2 million, 1.2 at 4 million.
Which is your money. If you're the sole partner, that's your distribution, which is much bigger than the 400,000.
Life just got a lot better, and you got a lot closer to being able to stack and rack some real cash.
Totally.
I don't know whether your wife is probably going to, tell you, well, we could go buy the boat now, baby, and we could do all. So maybe do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, if you lived at the same, in 5 years, you could conceivably have $1 million plus. Okay?
Saved.
Good for you. Saved, stacked, and racked, ready to be invested. Right. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because if we take that same 5 multiple on $1.2 million, it now takes the approximate valuation to $6 million.
Boom!
$6 million valuation of a company opens up a bunch more doors for people who might be a player to acquire that business. So what most business owners do is they focus on that $400,000, how I need it. I've been broke for so long. I'm finally making a few bucks. I'm going to suck the company dry. And we're here to argue, don't do it yet.
You're playing small.
Go double it.
Yeah, I think what we're saying here is the difference of making $2 million in your company to $4 million, at that base is not a big leap. And life gets radically better. Your opportunity to exit is triple.
Yeah, it's triple. And it's one of the few times when in the scale of your business, you can actually grow at 100%. Because the larger the revenue base, the harder it is to grow at triple figures. Right? So 4 primary reasons why you want to focus on this double and you want to stop focusing on the 400 grand. I hope I'm getting that point across. You think I'm getting that point across?
We've got people in the audience too. So yeah, we got it. It's good. All right.
So here's the why. Number 1, you make more profit margin when you double the revenue. Maybe not day one. Maybe you got to put the cart in front of the horse a little bit, but that equilibrium will level itself out. Number 2, you're going to make more personal income. You're going from 400 to $1.2 million. Life is a lot better at $1.2 million than 400. Your company is worth triple than the double. So instead of a $2 million 5X valuation, you're now looking at a $6 million valuation, and revenue makes a lot more problems go away.
100%.
You can buy yourself out of a lot more crap when you got $1.2 million left over instead of 400.
Revenue potentially solves almost every business problem.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we wanted to come on in the first episode of the Attack and Conquer show is why you got to focus on the revenue growth versus what you're extracting from your business for a specific period of time.
Yeah, and getting people to wake up to quit playing small, right? Because people get complacent. When you start getting $2 million in revenue, you feel like you've arrived. And that may be okay, but if you imagine if you continued that effort, which again, going from 2 to 4 isn't a radical shift.
It's not. It's a few small tweaks.
But it's a radical shift in your outcome financially.
Yeah, now you want to go from 4 to 8? You want to just keep rocking and rolling? You want to do another double? I mean, we could run those numbers out in our head.
Yeah, now now you're at a 8-figure exit versus
so 8. Let's say we left the margin the same. We're at 2.4 million now. 2.4 million times 5 is 11,200,000 valuation. It's $5 million more.
Yeah.
For a second round of the double.
Yeah.
Now, is that worth it?
Yeah.
Sounds like it to me.
Totally.
So anyway, that's the message of why you need to double the revenue in your business. And I hope everybody gets that. And I hope everybody starts to adjust your mindset as business owners to say it's not what you can take from the business. It's often what you have to leave into the business. But here's what happens, Judge. You know why this makes sense? This guy or gal has paid such a price to get it to $2 million in revenue to make 400, and they're like, I owe it to myself, man.
Right.
I sacrificed. It's time for me to go ahead and squeeze some juice out of that lemon, baby. I'm gonna get some back.
Right.
And we're here to argue to tell you that
get more back.
You'll get more back in another 2 or 3 years if you can get 1 or 2 more revenue doubles.
So we ready to talk about
Let's
the guests?
do it. Yeah.
Okay. So Matt and I talked about what's really going to be cool about this show is we want to bring on real entrepreneurs that have real businesses. $1 million to say $25 million in revenue, and we want to talk about this concept. How do we freaking double your business, right? Matt and I have done this, and we want to help other people, and we want to bring them onto the show. So with that being said, we're about to announce our guest. Adam, thank you for coming. He's about to come on. So he's a partner in VerityJet. If somebody will drop that in the comments. So if anybody's watching this, if you're looking at getting a private jet in mid-range, $3 million to probably $6 million jet. These guys are the brand, the company, VerityJet.com. I want to bring on the partner, Adam. Thank you for joining, buddy.
Guys, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah,
we got to hug in here a little bit.
Sure.
Squeeze in. So we brought Adam on, and he's given us some opportunities and challenges. And so we're just going to go raw with you.
Let's do it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've got the bull up here. It's going to get aggressive, maybe. We'll see.
Well, Adam, tell us just a little bit about your business and tell the audience a little bit about your business, too.
Sure. VerityJet Group, Judge gave us a promo. Like Judge said, we specialize in buying and selling, transacting $3 to $6 million airplanes. That's kind of our core market. We do larger airplanes. We did a couple of I think we did almost a $30 million airplane last month and about a $15 million airplane. But I'd say 70 to 80% of our market's the $3 to $6 million range. So we work with first-time airplane buyers. Often somebody calls and they've got a tax event and need to buy an airplane. They don't know where to start. So they come to us and we help them get into their first airplane oftentimes. or they're into their second or third, and so we'll help the disposition of the existing airplane and then move them into something larger.
That's awesome. I think he's trying to get the Instagram stream. And you guys have been in business now almost a year.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have kicked ass for a year.
Yeah, we've done great. Yeah. We're hitting our targets, and we're we're actually kind of blown away at the momentum and the success so far. Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. So Matt, anything else before we want to get into the premise of, now he gave us and his business partners that are out there in the audience 2 or 3 opportunities and challenges.
Yeah, it's the starting point for Judge and I when we get a chance to do this with business owners. The first thing we really want, there's a lot of things we want to look at, but we really would like the business owners, and if you want to be on the show and you want Judge and I to help you, we want to know what your biggest challenges and your biggest opportunities are. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that they are what we think are challenges and opportunities. We're not always sure that they're the same, right? Sometimes new entrepreneurs think a opportunity from our eyes is a real challenge,
Totally.
right? And then conversely, things that you might think are challenges, we think might be a tremendous opportunity, right? Oh, our competitors have been around for 20 years, and we're like, yeah, that means they've been doing everything the same for 20 years, which is actually kind of the case in your space.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's keep rocking and rolling, Judge. Let's move to a few of what we have. I'm going to try to get this Facebook to fire up again.
Okay. And if you guys are watching, hit Verity Jet in the comments. Also hit AC Boot Camp. For those that are following us, Matt and I, we have a sold out September. Would love for you guys to attend the November one. Man, I tell you what, this technology thing is crazy, right? We've got all these cameras and only half of it is working. And yeah, we're trying to reconnect on Matt's Facebook. Hit the like, hit the share. It helps us a lot. Somebody drop an AC Boot Camp in the comments for us. All right. So let's hit challenges. You ready, Adam?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. So you said time management, hiring order, right, and predictable revenue.
Correct.
Okay, so just to kind of crystallize that, time management is, I'm assuming you have 2 other partners, and you guys have an admin, right?
We
so
do.
it's 4 people in the company.
Correct.
And it's figuring out how everybody effectively manages time. Is that the qualifier there?
It is.
All right. And then hiring order would be you're growing, and what's the next strategic hire you guys want to get?
Correct. Yeah.
And then predictable revenue is, besides one and done sale, how do you get some predictability in your financials, whether it's recurring revenue, any of those things?
That's right.
That's spot on?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So those are the challenges. Matt, you want me to flip to opportunity, or you want to stay there and challenge the challenges?
When you say challenge, so when I see hiring order as a challenge, I always wonder, why is that a challenge? Because to me, that's an opportunity. That means I get to go out to the marketplace. I get to hire great people smarter than me who are experts in their field and fill my voids. I never look at that as a challenge. I look at that as an opportunity. So just, if you don't mind, just expand on why you thought it was a challenge and not an opportunity.
Fair enough. So to quantify it a little bit, my background, working for manufacturers, big companies. So this is, kind of always wanted to be a part of a business, be an owner in a business. And so when I'm trying to determine, and we're trying to determine the growth plan, we think about, okay, hiring is a challenge for us because we've never done it. Right. So we go, okay, do we focus, maybe add another salesperson so we can grow revenue? Or do we hire a back office data management person who can be doing some of the legwork on some of these deals for us? That gives us more time to go and create more revenue individually. So that's, which one? Is it the revenue or is it the back office to free up the time? We for us, that's a challenge.
So who does what between you and the partners? Who's in sales, operations, marketing, accounting?
We all sell. 2 of us focus more on the revenue generation, and then one of the partners does more of the back office. Keeps us financials in order and kind of keeps us heading the right direction, if that makes sense. But there's also a sales element to it. And then we divvy up makes and models. He specializes in a couple of different models. I do, and then the third one does the same thing.
What made you all go in that direction versus, typically in a partnership like that, one guy or gal is in sales, one guy or gal's in operations, one person does the books. What made you guys morph the sales between the three of you?
We've all done sales for 10 years.
Three-headed monster.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's what we all know, but then we segment it a little bit. So I enjoy marketing, right? I like the marketing element of it. So I handle that. Andy, he's really good and talented at finding inventory airplanes. So he specializes kind of in that, lining up some of the funding for inventory deals. And Brandon is just a business operations guy. He understands the numbers, where we need to spend the money, how we need to spend it, those types of things. So that's the way we've kind of divvied up. Everybody does the sales and the revenue generating, but then also to kind of run the day-to-day business.
But who's the hardcore closer?
Andy, I gotta give it Andy. He's been selling a lot of airplanes. Yeah, he's very good.
So isn't kind of an argument that maybe you and your partner are lead gen and Andy is the guy who closes the deal and pushes the pen?
I think there is some of that, and it's interesting as we grow and we kind of we learn what our individual strengths and weaknesses are. We're starting to see some of that where I'll sniff something out with marketing or data mining, and Andy goes, you know what, I've got a buyer for that airplane, and then and he's yeah, absolutely.
So back to the hiring order, right? I would challenge and say, you said, I think too, you said, do we get a back office person or a salesperson? Right.
And I think back office probably we have that to an extent. So maybe even more, data management. Somebody that's tracking markets for us full time.
Got it. So I think the easy way I would frame this up, and Matt, you may view this differently, is right now, are you guys inundated with so much opportunity that you can't handle it right now between the three of you?
That's exactly right. We'll have somebody that wants us to focus on a particular type of airplane, and for us to go from 0 to 100%, to be able to do that, to do it quick and to move it, and to do our customer a good job. We've got to spend individually, quite a bit of time to really make sure that we understand that market. Now, if we had,
but what I'm asking is sales the issue? But I mean, I wouldn't hire a salesperson if I have a ton of opportunity coming in and you can't even handle it right now unless you're able to manage and scale the growth. Then I just immediately would say, I don't think you need a salesperson. Unless there's so much coming that you need a salesperson to help close it.
Probably you're right. Yeah, I'd say, we've got a fair amount. We've got enough sales that we're able to manage it today. Yeah.
And then are you ready for that next set of growth? Is a company, do you feel prepared? Let's say you guys are doing 30 transactions a year right now. You brought on another salesperson and it was another 5. Is the infrastructure ready to handle another 5 to 10 sales?
That's kind of the debate that we're having.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, I think I can just sense that you guys have a good partnership. And I think that's really awesome. But it does seem to me like there's a little bit of clarity and org chart work that needs to be done. Who is truly, as Judge likes to say, whose neck is going to be choked?
Sure.
Right? And that breaks out in operations, it breaks out in finance, it breaks out in marketing, and it breaks out in closing sales. So I would challenge you guys to spend a little bit of time and figure out really role clarity,
trust,
org chart. Before the org chart happens, write the org chart. In other words, who's the president? Who's the VP of sales? Who's VP of marketing? Who's VP of operations? Who's VP of accounting, finance? And really start to put that together, because there's no question you guys are missing some sales with 3 guys doing sales, but only 1 guy is the closer. You guys should be generating leads for your hardcore closer. And just, that's the neck you choke. Because now you kind of got, I'm going to choke Judge's neck and he's going to choke my partner's neck, and I'd rather just have one guy's neck and choke.
Always.
And that guy often flourishes or implodes. He flourishes and says, fine, I got these guys off my back, man. I can flap my wings, I can fly, right? Versus everybody sort of talking in niceties. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So that's just one of the suggestions I would have, but it sounds like you guys have a very nice partnership, and Judge and I have been around partnerships a lot, and most are not like this.
Yes.
But I can just sense it.
Well, and I think the role clarity, too, allows the longevity of the partnership, too.
For sure.
Right? Because, who's on first at some point is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So does that help bring a need to the like hiring thing?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
You know, and then I think getting those roles, and then, you know, where can you make the most revenue would be my next advice. Is it, if you can make more revenue with this data person, then to me that's the hire, right? Or if you're going to make more revenue with the salesperson, that's the hire, based on where you guys are. You've been in business 12 months. How do you go from where you're at now to double? You need more revenue.
Yeah, or can we outsource for the data at $2,000 a month instead of bringing somebody in at $8,000 a month, plus insurance, plus payroll tax matching, right?
Right.
Is there a company that's awesome at data mining for your space, and we can just contract and outsource to them, third-party vendor, for a fraction of what it takes to bring somebody on?
Yeah.
You know, the couple things I had, Judge, in which I didn't see as challenges or opportunities, which would have jumped out to me. One of them for a one-year-old business that I come across a lot is everybody's crying for more revenue. But I didn't see it as a challenge or as an opportunity for you. So, I mean, do you guys feel that revenue is good and acceptable, or do you feel like, hey, we really need more rev?
Well, you know, we always want more rev. But based on what our target was on January 1, you know, we're hitting that target. So we don't jump out and say we need more revenue. We're sinking below our target. So we're tracking nicely. So that's why I didn't put it as a challenge. You know. Yeah,
so rev cures all.
It does, yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know,
but now it's time to double.
Sales cures all.
We started the show talking about the importance of the double. I made a reference here on the partnership dynamic, but it seems like you guys have that in pretty good shape, which is really impressive to see. And then I also made a note here on company culture. I didn't see culture in here as a challenge and a dynamic, and it's very common in a one-year-old company who's just trying to get the wheel spinning. But culture is extremely difficult to install later on in the business. It's better to figure the culture out now and live through the culture and your decision making and your foundation, your hiring and your partnership dynamic than it is to figure it out 3 or 4 years down the road, especially when there's more profit to split.
Yeah, and especially when you have your roles defined and then you live by those core values, right? I mean, what are the belief systems? What are the behaviors? I mean, Matt and I would argue before you can hire anybody, you have to have the culture completely dialed in order to even understand, is this person on paper a good hire? But for us, you know, what do they exude the core values? Are they going to move fast? Are they going to make decisions? You know, are they focused on revenue or whatever that is? I think that's why you're referencing, hey, you need culture as you're growing. It's key.
Well, look, what gets focused on is what gets done. And so if rev growth isn't on a challenge or an opportunity, it's probably not getting focused on enough. And if culture isn't on it either, it's probably not getting focused on. And Judge and I are just huge culture guys. Culture has saved our businesses. And culture has built my business again and allowed Judge to exit his business. Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, you can't grow a real company without people, and you can't have good people without culture, and you can't have great customers without great culture
or great marketing.
Yeah, it's an integral part of success.
Yeah, and unfortunately, culture is often assumed that it exists, and it doesn't exist until it's on the walls and it's lived, and decisions are made based on culture, not based on feelings or even data for that matter. It's based on, is this in line with our culture? And then I had one other thing, which I think is a huge opportunity for you guys, because I've shopped for jets, looked at many jets to get a feel for what it costs to fly on or maybe own a jet. And it's terrible the way they present these jets. And so as one of your opportunities is the tech piece, I don't know if that's part of it or if it's data mining, but if there's some way to improve the presentation of a private jet to a qualified buyer, the market that you're in is terrible. It's unbelievable, right? I mean,
it's an antiquated market.
The presentation is unbelievably terrible. The information, the description, the questions that it triggers me to have to ask. I don't even know who to call sometimes to get the feedback. It's unbelievable. So it looks like an entire facelift is a possibility in that space for you guys.
It is, and it's, Matt, probably one of the reasons that we started the company, quite frankly, you know, and we were drawing a parallel to, you know, high-end real estate. You know, you go look at a $6 million home and the way the way that it's presented, or a yacht for that matter. I mean, and so, but then you go look at a $6 million airplane that, you buy it for $6 million and then you got to spend $800 just to run it every year. I mean, it's a completely, so there's opportunity to leverage what other people have done in luxury items, high-end, high-priced, high-ticket items, to draw a parallel to what we do. So yeah, and it's as simple as, I mean, the photography. It's as simple as the spec sheets, the brochures. It's the video walkthroughs, those types of things, and that's easy, But then we want to move even beyond that, because that's step one. Anybody can implement that. But I agree with you. It is antiquated, and there's a tremendous opportunity to go in there and really.
I would even look at, and we talked offline a little bit today. You guys sold call it 20 jets this year, somewhere around there?
Yeah, a little less than that, but yeah.
Somewhere around there, right? I would go back to all 20 of those buyers, and one, I would get testimonials and content, and then two, I would say, how could we make this buying experience better, right? Matt's been looking at jets, and he says it sucks, right? What sucked about that process? There wasn't good enough video. There wasn't good enough photography. Matt's a first-time jet buyer. He wants to understand things that he doesn't want to be embarrassed about if he calls. He wants to learn about it, right?
The most important thing is you want to know what's my downside.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know the jargon about whether...
Yeah, what to ask.
What I don't even know, right? What's the alligator? So most of the time you're like, I just better back off again.
Yeah, so I'm gonna because I think this is key to people watching this, okay? Whatever you're selling, we get so freaking myopic. We get like this. And we think that the freaking customer understands everything because you, as the salesperson or the owner, understand it. And you forget about the freaking customer, the person that's writing the check, and what they need to understand. What you're not taking action because you weren't educated enough and didn't want to pick up the phone because you didn't even know what to ask. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want it, or for me, I'll use me, I wouldn't want to be embarrassed of saying, okay, yeah, it's $6 million, that, that kind of makes sense. Or, like, where do I park a freaking jet? I don't know. What I mean? So it's those things, right?
Sure. I mean, do I need to do the brakes on the jet? Have the engines been done? When will the interior need to be done? How's the paint? I mean, can I get my logo on it?
What does that cost?
What does it cost? I mean, there's just a million subsections of affiliate information that could live on that, and affiliate programs. Bring in a painter, right? Bring in an interior person. Bring in the engine repair. But
like real estate.
Just like real estate. It's not good enough to be the old, I know a guy who can hook you up with that. I know.
White glove, full service. I agree with Matt. Freaking huge opportunity. Your industry is antiquated and you want to freaking step on somebody's throat and dominate. Level up your market leader content. Learn the customer. Figure out all those pain points. I would go spend tomorrow calling every one of those 20 people you closed and said, dude, tell me about what could be better.
Yeah.
Right? The best place to go.
Yeah. So I think that's a massive opportunity for you guys, is if you clean up this customer interface, it differentiates you right away. And there are a few big players who are competitors to you who, once you did that with some unique technology, this technology opportunity might actually be the exit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The enterprise value increases. All right, so predictable revenue, right? You said that is a challenge, right? You hear myself, Matt, I even wrote a book on mastering recurring revenue. We talked about those exits earlier on the show. If you want a 5 exit or a 10 exit, you need a recurring revenue. You want that predictability. So I love that you put that down as a challenge. Have you guys thought about ways to diversify one and done sales to actually create something different in the category to get you that predictability?
We've started hashing that out, and
if you don't want to share, because
but I'll offline, absolutely. But you're right. Like even in your book, you talk about a lifestyle business. And so that's probably where we are in the phase. We haven't set it all up for an exit later, but that's in the cards. If it all came together. But how do we package it? And to your point, what's that recurring revenue and how does that model look? And we do have some ideas that we're working on to create some recurring revenue and maintain the relationship with the customer throughout the life of the ownership of the airplane, right? We don't just buy the airplane and then we're out. We want to maintain that contact and coach you all the way through until you're ready to exit it. And so those are some of the things that we're mulling around to figure out if there's a recurring revenue opportunity.
Is there
Space.
anybody in the space with a recurring revenue model, or you guys got to build it?
Probably not specifically where they're transactional in nature only, but there are other brokerages and airplane transaction specialists who do other things like manage airplanes, and then they'll get a monthly kind of a management fee, so they have a recurring revenue model there. And we've looked at that, but that becomes a whole additional business.
Right.
And so what we're really trying to do, and what we are doing, is being laser focused on what we do. So we don't want to start managing airplanes. We don't want to fly them. We don't want to charter them. We want to do this. We want to do it incredibly well. But we want to tack on a recurring revenue piece that aligns with what we do every single day.
Yeah, I think you guys got to think of this. Listen, why is Uber successful? It took a freaking 50-year-old category or 40-year-old category, a taxi, and flipped the script, right? It used technology and it focused on the customer, right? I don't have to chase down a cab. It's not dirty. I mean, all those things. I can look on my phone. I can cancel it. I don't have to pay. It's all automated, right? I would get in this mindset of tying customer data, making that experience better, and overlaying these ideas of predictability and recurring revenue to ideate, right? Because you've got to, you're ideating in a vacuum if you don't have the customer pain points, and use those pain to come up with that recurring revenue, that predictability. That'd be my...
Yeah, but I think there's actually a course, first-time jet buyer course.
Yeah.
That, you for whatever, $499, I buy your course and I learn everything I need to learn. Because if I'm about to spend $6 million, I'll spend $499 to educate myself before I have to make a phone call.
Yeah. Right. And feel very... you got to look at Matt and I talk about this predictive index text. Somebody that's buying a freaking jet is a captain. They're high A, right? They want to be in control. They want to have the diligence. And that'd be a great idea. Give them a course to educate them. And guess what? 90% chance you're going to get the call because you educated them.
You hope so. And you're building your database and they're in the drip campaign and now you're staying in contact. So they're still kicking tires. But when they're ready to go, you taught them the ropes.
And probably nobody in your space has built a course on how to save money, how to monetize a jet, how to get tax breaks, how to do all that stuff. And you would flip the script on the industry and get that predictability.
It's a great idea.
You're welcome. Did you see that? We're doubling businesses in 30 minutes or less.
Well, that's awesome, man. So we appreciate you coming on the show, man. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, stick around while we close. Stick around while we close. All right, buddy. That's the point of the show. We want to bring business owners on. We want to talk to them about their challenges and their opportunities, and then we want to get into grips with them and try to help them figure it out because, it's hard to see the picture when you're inside the frame, right?
Always.
And it's always better to have somebody. The biggest problems that most business owners have is they're afraid, and I'm not saying that our guys tonight feel afraid, but I know I did. I was terrified to go and ask somebody who knew what the hell was going on to help me with it. I just thought it would be embarrassing for me, and I was too small, and they're not going to want to help me and all that sort of stuff. We got this chance to help 25 million business owners on Wednesday nights.
I love it. The other thing that is seeking mentorship, right? This is free, right? I mean, if you want to level up, if you guys are watching this and saying, I'm tired of playing small, and based on how Matt set this up earlier, listen, if you're making $1 million and you're patting yourself on the back, if you grow 10%, you're losing.
Yeah.
Right? It's time to double up. It's time to think bigger. And how you do that is with the right process, the right structure, the right framework, the right mentorship. And Matt and I are going to be bringing that every Wednesday. It's zero cost.
Yeah, and then we'll be bringing it once a month at the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp series. The first one sold out in September. Our next one is November here in Dallas. Go to acbootcamp.com to learn more about that. We'd love to see you. That's the Bravo class. The Alpha class is already sold out. The Bravo class is open still. And, dude, it was fun.
So awesome. Do we want to see, tech didn't work, so I don't have any comments. Tony, is there any comments or anything on streams we want to hit with people real fast, Matt, before...
What we really want to do is, I want to remind everybody who's watching the show, listen, somebody who has a business that could go to the next level. It's a family member, it's a friend, it's a brother, it's a sister, it's your neighbor, it's this guy that you used to work for who now started his business. Tell those people about this show. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We committed to coming live with you guys. Hopefully we get on site. By the way, if you want to be on the show, just send us a message, DM Judge or myself, and say, hey guys, that was awesome. I want to do my challenge and opportunity sheet, and I want you guys to do it. If you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, we'll come to you.
Totally. Okay. First show's done. It's in the books.
It's a good show, man. Good show.
Thank
Boom.
you guys. Please comment, share. Like Matt said, get this out to somebody. We'll be back at you next Wednesday.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll have the tech figured out better by then.
Mevo.
Mevo came on. It's good. It worked. All right. We're about to start Xing out all these things. Thanks, guys. As always,
Thanks, everybody.
make it happen.